from the crypt.
Hello, boils and ghouls. Welcome to episode 206 of Dads from the Crypt. My name is Jason. I'll be your host tonight. And I'm joined by my trusty co-host, Mr. Jody.
Hello, campers.
Hello. And then joining us from the Zombie Grrlz is our wonderful friend, Miss Rachel.
Hello, I'm so happy to be back amongst the beards, the glorious beards. As a Paganophile, I'm in heaven. This is amazing. So many great beards.
So many great beards. We're going to get into it because I think we're going to have a lot to talk about tonight. We're reviewing Sleepaway Camp 2, but Rachel, you hadn't seen either Sleepaway Camp movie. So
I saw the first one as a child, like far too young, but I don't I don't think it counts. Like I have vague memories of seeing it in like elementary school. So we're gonna count this as a first watch. Yeah.
So I want to get your okay. So we're going to talk about Sleepaway Camp 2 as our main one, but can you give us your mini review on the first movie? Were you a happy camper?
You know, I was a surprisingly happy camper, especially as someone who's pretty slasher agnostic. But it's a classic, and so I was like, "This is good. This will be like good as a horror aficionado, like some groundwork that needs to be laid in terms of understanding the genre." And so, like I said, essentially, it was kind of like a first watch. I knew how the film ended. Obviously, I don't think you can be a horror fan and not have some inkling of what's happening. But I was surprised that there was so much more to unpack in it. Mm-hmm. It is, for all of its problematic issues, of which it has many. I know that some people kind of see it as a trans revenge film versus just a sort of problematic film, which sort of encompasses some of the trans panic that we still have today. And I think both of those assessments are super, super fair. But it's also just so fucking wackadoo that, and it has, like, it leans into its flaws, and there's still some brains under the hood. I don't know. I kind of ended up loving it way more than I expected to. I also showed it to my partner for the first time last night, who had not seen it. So when it wrapped, I got a tongue lashing, and I was like, worth it, no regrets.
But yeah, I mean, like kind of like we talked about last time. Even if you know the ending, there's just so much WTF in this movie that it doesn't ruin it.
Mm-hmm.
No movie that has Aunt Martha acting the way Aunt Martha acts can be only like the ending can be the only good part.
Right.
There's too much bizarreness through the entire.
And she's only in 2 scenes. That's the beauty of it.
I know, but
she leaves an impression.
It's so important.
I was telling Jason last night, when we met Aunt Martha, again, watching it with my partner who had no idea where it was going, was like, I think she's an android. I know the twist of this movie. And I was like, oh, bless your heart. I was like, yep, that's it. Nailed it right out the gate.
Mm-hmm. And it's funny because he texted me not once, but twice about the length of the shorts in this movie.
Listen, this is the commentary you come to me for, all right?
Oh, yeah.
If you want something academic, go to Matilda. If you want to hear about budgie smugglers, you've come to the right place.
I mean, imagine seeing this movie like I have on a big screen, and it's like, 30 foot tall.
I mean,
to be fair, the shorts in the first movie, some of them, I don't even know that you count them as shorts. I mean, they're just like underwear with a zipper. The big muscular guy, he has some shorts that are cut upward, like there's not legs.
Yeah, I think that's like a French cut or something.
Yeah. It's wrong.
Yeah, they're subverting gender a lot of ways in that first film. Yep.
All right. Well, before we dive into Sleepaway Camp 2, I just want to give a shout out to our Patreon. We now have mini reviews out for you to watch. We have one on weapons. We have I think we have one on Companion, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, I think it's Companion, and then we have one for Strange Darling, which should be out by the time this episode comes out, and that's our $3 and above. They're more short form reviews, between 15 and 30 minutes, depending on how robust the conversation is. So I encourage everyone to check out the Dash and the Crypt Patreon. We also do early releases for all of our episodes as well. All right, Jody. So Sleepaway Camp 2 came out, gosh, I think it was 88. The original came in, I think, 83. So it's about 5 years gap. And it's one of those deals where they did 2 and 3 back to back. I don't know what it was about those movies back then, like, you know, the Back to the Future style, but they thought that would be a great idea for this movie. And Felissa Rose was ready to go to college, which I think she was done acting for a bit. So, and she also said the tone just didn't really match with what she wanted to do with the character. So they recast, and then, you know, we have a whole different vibe in this movie. So here we are. Jody, take us away.
I feel like we can't just jump into the story without kind of setting the mood. Hold on.
Oh.
All right. So audio. I don't know how to play this thing. I'm just faking. But so was Angela. All right.
For those watching, or sorry, for those listening on the podcast, not watching YouTube, Joey just brought out, is it ukulele?
It is a ukulele. I had to borrow one from my brother just for this bit. That's how committed I am.
Commit to the bit.
All right. All right. Let's get everyone in the camp spirit before we get into it. Oh, I'm a happy camper. I love the summer sun. I love the trees and forests. I'm always having fun. Oh, I'm a happy camper. I love the clear blue sky. And with the grace of God, I'll camp until I die. I really don't know how to play this thing.
Bravo! Encore!
Thank you.
Love it.
If you would like, later on, I could pull it out again for the Shote Sisters version of the song.
Oh, really? I give you money for that.
Yes.
I have the lyrics right here in front of me.
Excellent.
I told you, I commit to the bit.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So 5 years after the first film, we meet all of these new characters, starting with the head counselor at Camp Rolling Hills, TC. One thing worth mentioning before we go any further, every single character name in here is based on a 80s star that's usually like Brat Pack. So TC, Tom Cruise. So he's the head counselor.
What's weird about that is those are contemporary.
Oh yeah,
this is like a throwback, like we're making reference to the 80s and the 90s or 2000s. No, this is like the people that are happening right then. Which is even weird.
No, they are making reference to the popular stars of the day, such as all of these male counselors: Sean Penn, Rob Lowe, Anthony Michael Hall. And these are their actual character names too. It is like, if you look at it is Anthony Michael Hall is the name of the character. Judd Nelson, Charlie Sheen, and Emilio Estevez. And then there's a girl.
Hold on.
What?
Well, because the final girl on this is the sister of Charlie Sheen and Emilio Estevez.
That's right. Molly, who we'll get to in just a moment. At that campfire, though, there is Phoebe Cates, and she's there too. She snuck away to hang out with the boys. And so around the campfire, they all tell the story of the first movie. And they don't really know what happened to the girl at the end of the movie or at the end of the story. But they said that, you know, something happened to her. And about that time, new counselor to Camp Rolling Hills, Angela, appears and chastises Phoebe for sneaking out to be with the boys. She calls her a slut and they get into an argument. And then Phoebe gets lost and Angela hits her over the head with a giant log and then slices her tongue out of her mouth. So this is new Angela. Angela is not all about sneaking around in the corners this time. We get to see everything happen right up front. We know who our killer is from the very first scene. The next day, the campers in Phoebe's cabin, Molly, Ringwald, Allie, Sheedy, Mara Wilson, Whittingham, I think is the name. Okay. Demi, Moore, Leah, Thompson, and the twins, Brooke and Jody, Brooke Shields and Jodie Foster. Okay, I can stop doing that now. But it's literally every character in this movie. They ask Angela what happened, and she says Phoebe had to go home. I had to send her home. She was doing terrible things with the boys. At breakfast, the camp director, Uncle John. Hold on, I got one more. Uncle John Hughes. Uncle John gives Angela the Counselor of the Week award. She sings the song that I started this off with. And later, Angela discovers Brooke and Jody, the Schote sisters, smoking pot and making out with a boy. And she runs the boy off. And the girls wake up with, or one of them wakes up sitting on a grill next to the charred skeleton of her sister. And Angela pours gasoline all over her, burns her to death. So just right off the bat, kill. We've got a burgeoning love affair between a couple of the characters, Molly and Sean. That night, the boys do a panty raid at the girls' cabin. Angela comes in and yells at everybody and throws them out. Then the girls do a jockstrap raid, which I'm sure every girl wants to collect a pile of jock straps. Yeah. There's nothing horrific about that. TC allows all the fun, but Angela, yells at everybody again. And more specifically, she yells at Mare, who flashes her boobs at the boys. There's a whole lot of boobs in this movie. One character, Allie, I don't know that she owns a shirt. She puts one on occasionally just to go from place to place. But because Mar flashes her boobs, she's the next scene is her saying, "I want to leave camp." I'm not sure what happened in the meanwhile, but she's saying she wanted to leave, and so Angela's driving her, and then Angela takes a big giant power drill and drills into her, killing her. The next day, Angela finds Charlie and Emilio, again named after the main final girl's brothers. Looking at naked pictures of various campers, including one of Angela changing. And she's very upset by this, which, to be fair, these boys are little perverts. So, yeah, I'm fine with people being upset with them. So the girls have a camping trip, and a couple of the boys are going to surprise her and try to scare Angela by dressing as Freddy Krueger and Jason Voorhees. The plan backfires because Angela shows up dressed as Leatherface and kills both of them. One by using Freddy's claw to slice the throat open, and then the other killing him with a chainsaw. The next day, or at the camping trip that night, or at the girls' camping trip that night, Allie is missing. They say it's because she, quote, has cramps, but really she's in the bathroom having sex with one of the male counselors. Angela comes to the door. I guess she's planning on killing them, but her chainsaw won't start, and so they get away for one more night. But she sets a trap by putting up a note for Allie saying, "Hey, Sean, this is Sean. I want to meet you. Meet me at the abandoned cabin." When Allie shows up at the abandoned cabin, Angela is there, and she shoves her into an outhouse toilet. Well, she stabs her in the back, then shoves her into an outhouse toilet in a nasty, extended, long death sequence where she is covered in both crap and leeches and comes up for air at least 4 or 5 times before they finally let the girl die. Let's see. So, dead, feces, and leeches. All right. That night, one of the girls says, Angela, we had some spare time, and I called these girls who are missing, who you said have gone home. Their parents said they're still at camp. And then I called this girl, and their parents said and so Angela decides this girl knows too much and strangles her with a guitar string. And then another little girl comes in who is always saying, "I'm going to tell." And because Angela doesn't want her to tell, she stabs her. So the next day, Uncle John and TC pretty ticked off that literally every girl at this camp has been sent home except for one. And so they fire her. But Molly, who is a nice person, wants to help Angela feel better. So she gets Sean, and they go up to Angela's abandoned cabin. and go inside. And we get a fantastic discovery of the body scene. One of my favorites. There's, everybody who we've seen die so far. And if you pay close attention, some people who we haven't seen die yet, who will die later in the movie, all those bodies are sitting out. So they get tied up, and back at the camp, TC finds out where they've gone, and he's ticked off at Angela. And so he goes to find out what's going on. He steps into the place. Angela throws battery acid into his face, which instantly kills him. I don't know if your face getting burned would instantly kill you, but hey, whatever. People die real fast in this movie most of the time. So he dies, and then that's when Sean realizes, wait, I know who you are. You're Angela Baker. You used to be Peter Baker. My dad was the one who arrested you. And she said, well...
Mustache cop.
Yes, suspicious.
Yeah, the guy with his glued-on mustache. My dad was the one who arrested you. And she says, well, wait till he finds out what happens to you. And she takes a machete and chops his head off in front of Molly. While Molly's tied up, Angela goes back to the cabin, or back to the camp, kills literally everybody else. There's a guy hanging from the ceiling. Uncle John has his hand cut off. One of the female counselors, what happens to her?
She gets stabbed. Are you talking about Diane?
Yeah, that's right. She just gets stabbed a bunch. And so we see now that what has happened is Angela explains herself. I forgot to mention this. She explains herself to Sean that after the events of the first movie, she got arrested. She went to jail, but also she went to therapy, a lot of electroshock therapy, and they pronounced her as cured. She had a gender reassignment surgery, so she is now officially Angela the girl, and she's supposedly completely cured, which, based on the actions of this movie, seems suspect to me. But that's pretty much all this movie does with the gender thing. Like, it's a big deal in the first movie, but in this one, it's just, okay, now she's a girl. Moving on. I think they just really wanted a good chance to put Pamela Springsteen out there and let her play as a female slasher, because there's just not a lot of them. But anyway, so Molly's the only one left. She gets away. Angela chases after her, and Molly falls off a small cliff and is presumed dead. So Angela makes her way down to the road, hitchhikes into a truck. The lady in the truck ticks Angela off for being obnoxious, and she gets stabbed. And then Molly makes her way to the road, and a car pulls up to save her. But no, it's Angela. The end. This movie is basically just listing a kill count when you're doing the the story. That's what it is.
Yeah. Well, this movie was originally 78 minutes long, and they were contractually obligated to make it 80. So they actually added a dream sequence that is literally just footage of stuff you've already seen.
Yeah, it's like every other. Yeah, you get to relive every kill while Angela slowly. I'm a happy camper. Right. Just dragging it out for 2 minutes.
Yeah, just because. Okay, 80 minutes. Cut it. All right, Rachel, what do you think of this movie?
Yeah, so it's interesting watching these two back to back, right? Because I watched the first one, I really enjoyed it. I got the vibe, I understood what they were doing. And this is such a departure. Tonally, everything about it, the mystery from the opening sequence is pretty much resolved. So it took me a minute to kind of get into what this was doing and appreciate it on its own terms. That it is not it's not a slasher, like a straightforward slasher. Rather, it's like this proto meta slasher satire. And so once I settled into that, I actually ended up having a pretty good time with this, surprisingly. In large part, I think it's because of Pamela Springsteen's performance as Angela. She's so likable, which is a very strange thing to say. And the more unhinged she gets, the more I found myself really liking her and really rooting for her. Nobody does anything that's worthy of being killed in this. They're not even bullying her. They're just like trying to have a good time. And yet she's so funny and with her one-liners and her her excellent comedic timing and just generally being charming that I was completely swayed to her side and ready to watch her just slash her way through this camp of like nubile quote unquote teens. I mean, obviously this is a product of its time and there are the problematic elements to this, like misgendering Angela immediately off the bat, repeatedly, not great. But what's interesting is that it's problematic, but it approaches her gender in a way that's like you kind of have already talked about this a little bit. It's imperfect, but it's imperfect in a way that is much more interesting than what it could have been. There's a version of this movie where they like really lean into the monstrosity, quote unquote, of transness, have it played sort of like a Norman Bates style where there's like a man in a wig or something like that. But instead they just kind of treat her like an urban legend. And then it sort of shuttles that until later, until we circle back to it and we find out the story of like, she's now gone through this surgery once again, not necessarily with her consent, but we're just going to kind of hand waves away from that. But what makes her a monster is not the gender stuff. It is this embrace of this wildly conservative, like puritanical moral code. So the monster of this movie is not the trans person. It's the morality of a slasher. And I think that's kind of fucking brilliant, actually. So yeah, I have lots more to say about this, but that in and of itself made it way more interesting than I had any expectation going into it of it being.
I feel like the real monster in this movie is Ronald Reagan.
Yeah,
right. Just like real life.
The line about the tax dollar thing right off the front.
Oh my god!
Like our parents' tax dollars paid for her surgery.
How far we haven't come.
I know.
No.
Well, even when she lights the show sisters on fire, she's like, "Don't do drugs." The Nancy Reagan line, like it's all just right there. It's not even trying to be subtext.
I love it. I love it. Because one of the things I struggle with slashers is often this. It's transgressive through the lens of like conservative thinking, and this is like skewering those things and pointing out how monstrous those things are in a way that's very fun and tongue-in-cheek at the same time.
Yeah, it's interesting how they're both movies are very camp, but in very different ways and very different tones. Where this is silly camp, but the other one is the first one is very like just over the top, melodramatic camp. All right, Jody, I'll let you go second this time.
Okay. Wow. I was unprepared.
I'm Magnus.
Keep me on my toes here. Yeah, no, I really love this movie because it is so over the top. It does. I mean, it's, if nothing else, it's got a huge kill count. I went to the Dead Meat Wiki just to see what other 80s slashers had higher kill counts than this. Friday the 13th, 5 and 8. That's pretty much it. Like, there's 19 kills in this movie. Yeah. That's a ton for an 80s slasher. Like, it by the time you get into 2000s, we've passed that up a while ago. Yeah, no, it's tons of kills. They're pretty nasty. I mean, like Allie's death in the toilet. But even some of the other, I mean, like setting a girl on fire while her sister's skeleton is looking at, they're mean, but they're also silly in a fun way. I do like that this time I've really keyed into that thing we were just talking about, that her conservatism seems to be like the actual villain of this movie, because she's really against sex, or, good girls don't have to show it off, or don't talk back, or literally it's just all about like, you need to follow all the moral rules that I have, or I will punish you. And gosh, in 2025, I feel like We are
Well, and
history
then
repeats itself.
well, and then when she gets caught by that one girl, you know, she doesn't have a reason to kill her. She's like, well, because you're going to tell. Well, like, yeah, that's just
Right.
the hypocritical
Yes,
nature
absolutely.
of it.
Well, and even at the end, when Angela's chasing Molly, Molly hasn't done anything. Even Sean hasn't done anything. And then she decapitates him. So it's the excuse of I'm killing them because they're bad kids, but also I'll kill anybody who gets in my way. So yeah, it's fun. It's very self-aware. It knows exactly what a slasher is. I mean, Jason and Michael and Leatherface all make appearances. But like it for 1988, that kind of like meta, like we're acknowledging the slasher and making fun of it while also making it. There's not a lot of that. There's a few attempts, but I don't think any of them are as good as this one. And I just have a really good time with it. It's fun. It's sleazy for, you know, it's a trashy movie. There's a whole lot of nudity in it and the kills are pretty bloody. And yeah, you know, it's having a good time while making fun of the people who would make you feel bad for watching a movie like this.
I love it.
I'm such a fan of the first one that like the tone in this one just doesn't quite work for me. If it was a completely different movie, I'd probably appreciate it more, but because it's intrinsically tied to the first one, and that's just one of my all-time favorite movies. And it's a little too silly for my tastes. And like a little too, I wouldn't say too meta, but like there's one point where she literally just walks into a cabin and says, "Good night, campers." There's no one in that cabin. It's just to be funny to the audience. And I'm like, it's a little too fourth wall breaking for that. It definitely has the requisite WTF I love in this series. And there are some good lines, like the part where everyone's going through and they're putting their hands in the thing, like, "Ooh, it's eyeballs. Ooh, it's this." And it's like they get to her, it's like, "Oh, it's dead teenager brains." And you're like, "What is it really?" Like, no, it's a teenager brains.
Teenager brains.
Yeah, that was good. That was a good line. The cabin stalking sequence where she's trying to like grab all the things to figure out how to kill this one girl who's just talking and talking and talking. I like that scene a lot. But I think the charm of the first one, a lot of it has to do with that they're kids playing kids. Like and that just brings a whole level of authenticity to it. And then here where we're having like 20, almost 30-year-olds, it seems, playing teenagers. Just go ahead.
Okay, so quick thing. I did some reading on this. The cast is probably actually about 50% minors because that's how some of the scenes had to be shot. So like the kid who's dating Allie, I don't remember what his name is, but the blonde kid.
Yeah.
He is under 18. And so like for the sex scene that they have where she is on top of him, they were filmed independently because they could not have her topless in a scene with him because he was a minor. And so they filmed all of her stuff and then they filmed him looking like he was laying on the ground underneath her. So yeah, there actually are more teenagers than you would think. And you got those two little kids who are running, little pervert kids.
The little two people, yeah.
The two
But it seems like,
there's like two kids in the camp and everybody else is
It-
a counselor.
It's such a wild camp. Well, because half them, it's a camp for kids who are 18 or 10. Like there's
exactly.
It's a weird camp.
Yeah.
So like the first one, there was a level of believability you could buy into, where this one, it feels like someone's like I'm literally just watching. I know it's supposed to be a performance, but it just feels so performative. With the first one, there was like some genuineness that I could really latch on to as someone, you know, who went to camps and stuff like that. That really takes me out of this movie. The kills are fun. They're definitely fun. The editing is not great. There's a lot of just like walking, and we're just kind of show. Like I feel like the editing just goes on for a couple beats longer than it needs to. Like
They had to get to that 80
I would
minutes.
say they had to hit that time. You can't trim.
I know. Yeah, exactly.
Have another drum sequence.
Yeah, exactly. So like, yeah, there's like no score, and I love the score in the first one so much. And the fact there's like almost no score in this, it just, I don't know. It feels like there's just obviously they're making two movies back to back, so I just feel like everything is just so rushed They didn't really give it time to. I feel like if the movie had a little more time to breathe and work out some of these things, it could have benefited a lot from those.
I find with a change this significant from between movies, and other things have done it, I have to take them like completely independently. Like I know they're related, but
Yeah.
Sleepaway Camp 1 is one thing. This is a completely different thing. And I don't compare them because they're not even the same genre hardly.
But
But
it is the same character. So if it was a totally different character, this is a totally different camp, nothing really related other than title, I could divorce it more. But because it is the same character, I just can't make that distinction. I do love Pamela Springsteen's performance. She's fantastic. And it does have like some iconic visuals. Like again, this VHS cover I remember seeing as a kid all the time, and it's very, very good. Even though like they had to get another model because she couldn't make it to the photo shoot, yada yada yada. It's a very cool image. And I remember when I was a kid, just kind of like peeking into the horror section because I was too afraid to really go in. This is one I'd look at the back, and I remember there's a picture of I can't remember which character it is, but the girl with the leeches on her head like popping out of a toilet, and that scared the crap out of me when I was a kid. Seen that on the VHS. Yeah, so it's one of those movies like one step forward, two steps back. There's things I like, but then there's a lot of things that kind of cancel it out and kind of goes back and forth. And that ending of kind of like where she's just like, oh, where Renee Estevez just like, just like, and then it just freeze frames. Like, yeah, that ending really annoys me too. I'm like, come on, give us a little something.
Yeah, I see what you mean. I think I was just so delighted that miraculously in 1988, you said 85, 88,
88.
that the queer character survives. Like we did not bury the queer. I was so delighted that she escapes and that she, goes on, presumably in the next film to continue her reign of terror. I don't know if she makes it from the third film, but at least at this point, I'm always delighted to see, this is not that this will not adhere to the Hays Code. Like evil does not go unpunished by the end of this, and I appreciated that about the end. But I also like concede your point. I understand where you're coming from. Well, it took me a minute to get into this too.
That depends on who you think the evil are. Those dirty teenagers.
They were just kids.
I mean, I was thinking the conservative ideology.
So, Jason, I can at least sympathize a little bit because your favorite Friday the 13th is Jason Lives, right? Part 6. Yeah. And that's the one where they get funny all of a sudden after not being funny. I don't like Part 6. Part 6 annoys me because I'm like, this isn't a funny franchise. Why is it suddenly funny? And so I get it. Like when you have a massive tonal shift, if you're really invested in everything that came before it, it can be hard. When I watched Part 2 the first time, I remembered Part 1. I remembered the end of Part 1, but it wasn't like my favorite movie. It was just a movie I remembered, And so when I watched Part 2, okay, sure. I don't have any strong like attachments. But when I get to Friday the 13th, Part 6, I'm very attached to a certain tone for these movies. And so, I get it. I can understand.
Well, yeah, it's interesting that we flip on it because I think the Friday the 13th movies are like unintentionally so bad they're funny that they finally get to the point where like we can't even make another one of these. We're just going to parody the hell out of it. But it is still, what I do like about the movie, it's still balanced. It's not overly silly. It's still a Friday the 13th movie. And it's just a bunch of sight gags.
Yeah, but in Friday the 13th 6, where they slam a dude's head on the tree and it leaves a smiley face mark behind, that like kills me. Like I know a lot of people are like, "Oh, that's a funny scene," but for me, I'm like, "That's stupid. Jason wouldn't do that."
But the point is that the plot. But my point is the plot doesn't hinge on that. It's just there to take it or leave it. With this movie, there's so much silly crap happening, and that's the entire plot. There's really nothing else happening in this movie. Again, why it's so short.
I mean, for me, 19 Deaths is a pretty packed movie.
Well, yeah. Well, but I'm saying that's all it is. Just kill, kill, kill. Right. There's no meat.
I mean, I think that's
really
super intentional though, right? That's
I
a
don't
part
need
of
any
the
meat.
satirizing
Yeah.
is that like
Yeah.
there is no plot, there's no character arcs, there's no character development. Like it is just all killer,
No
moderate
filler.
thriller, depending on how you feel about this film. Um, that to me feels like a part of the commentary, and in the same way that it pulls in. It's fun that it pulls in these characters like Freddy and Leatherface and Jason and all this stuff, but like that too feels really intentional. Like it's gaggy for sure, but I also feel like it's juxtaposed against a killer who is unmasked, which feels important to me because I feel like the whole point of the first film is about her hidden identity, and in the second film she doesn't even bother to mask up when she's like committing these crimes.
She doesn't even change her name.
Well, Angela Johnson, come on.
Well, yeah, but it's still Angela.
And
Right.
so I think that you could interpret those things as flaws of the film very justifiably. But I also think that there is a case to be made that there's a lot of intentionality and that it speaks to the satire and the commentary. So for me, as much as like your critiques are fair, it doesn't bother me because I think I'm actually more interested in the satire than you are. You know what I mean? Like that is where I'm really kind of hooking into this film, is around the commentary around slashers, especially in the midst of the peak. Like it's ability to be critical and have fun and poke fun from the inside of a movement of the genre while it's still like in its full swing. Like it is not crested, it is not jumped the shark, it is still on and popping. That to me is very clever, and it takes like a real awareness, like cultural awareness, to be able to do it effectively.
Well, and I feel like even some of the go ahead.
This is why we have Rachel on, to say smart stuff like that.
Oh please. Oh, please.
But I do feel like even some of the silly stuff actually has a little bit of a point, like the fact that all the characters are named after like contemporary actors. They all get killed. They're disposable teens. And I feel like that's commentary about all those actors who, pretty disposable. We don't think much of them, including Renee Estevez's brothers, apparently.
Well, I mean, whatever happened to them? I'm sure nothing problematic.
Sure, yeah, they did great.
No, I mean, have you been seeing the clips of the excerpts of Charlie Sheen's new book that just came out?
You act like I'm not in gay press. Of course. Of course I am.
I didn't know he was a gay icon.
Well, I mean, he's talking about his experiences in the book. I'm just saying.
Actually, he does talk about, some experiences he had. That's true. I forgot about that.
Yeah.
I do think you are turning me around a little bit. I don't know if I'm going to watch this movie and reappraise it anytime soon, but the next time I happen to, these are things I might try to think about. I'm still on the fence on how intentional it is, or whether they like lucked into some of this some of the intentionality, but
Maybe.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, divorced from anything else, it is a fun, 80s romp of a slasher.
Mm-hmm.
But
which is totally a valid way to like interact with this film.
Yeah.
Like, that's
you can watch this movie, a little high and just giggle through the whole thing and have a good time.
Are you saying I didn't?
I was
Don't ask me how I know.
Cite your sources.
That's definitely an option for this movie. There's a lot of fun to be had.
I would love to see. This is one of the movies I'd love to see someone re-edit as like a anti-drug ad or something like that. Like you could totally do some fun things with that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, definitely.
All right, let's do our rating. We do 0 to 5, 5 being the best, 0 being the worst. Rachel, I'm going to ask you to do both movies.
Oh, okay.
I might make you see which one you rank higher.
Okay. I mean, sure. I'll start with the first one. I would probably give that one a 3.5. I'm going to say 3.5, and I'm going to give this one a 3.
Okay.
That one, I think I liked it a little bit more, but not substantially more, which surprised me because I was like, "Oh, we're going in for the sequel. It's about to get rough." And I ended up having a really good time.
And when I asked you to come on the show, I'm like, I really wanted your opinion on both movies because I think they're both, like you said, I know you appreciate camp, and then they're both very camp in their own ways. But you can't watch the second without watching the first one. So I was really curious how that would shake out for you.
Yeah.
I'm glad it did.
Yeah. And it was fun live tweeting it to you.
Yeah. I want you to live tweet every movie you watch now.
Okay.
There's one joke. I don't know. I'm debating whether we should say it or not. If that's going to get us flagged or something. But
I mean, I don't think so. I think I know which one it is.
yeah.
Is it the one you sent me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh.
Like,
That was
you
great.
can,
I like
you
that
can
one.
say if you want.
Well, I don't want to get you flagged now. I'm parent. See, I'm terrible. I say all kinds of crazy shit on my show. I might be flagged and I don't even know it.
It's YouTube.
She
It's just-
equated a certain chef in the first movie to a certain now deceased, possibly by his own hand, possibly by his not, person of interest to other powerful people in the world.
just
Well,
say
Jeffrey-
Jeffrey Epstein. I call
Jeffrey
him Jeffrey Epstein.
I want to make that a meme.
It was great.
All right, Jody.
Yeah. So for a long time, I liked this one better than the first one because the first one just seemed to take itself too seriously for me. But as I have taken more time and I've watched that first one over and over the years, like I really have grown to love that one a lot. So I've flipped positions. I gave it a 4.5 last week because I really like that one. But this one, I am going to give it a 4 because I still have a great time with it. But just, I think there's a little bit more meat to the other one, but I don't really need meat all the time, you know? Sometimes it's
You do a
just
lot with
fun.
that.
Yeah, I know you could. I know. If Mondo was here, I wouldn't say that because I know what would happen. But
All right.
But yeah,
I'm
I
waffling
love it.
between a 2.5 and a 3. Probably before we recorded, I would have been a 2.5. After some of the fantastic points that Rachel brought up, I'm more in the 3 camp, I think.
I didn't
Sometimes
bring it
just
up.
talking these things out kind of, helps you readjust your
Totally.
opinions on things. All right, let's take a quick break and do a shout out.
She's a real carpenter's dream. Flat as a board and needs a screw. Hey, horror fans. It's Karen Fields, Judy from the movie Sleepaway Camp, and you are watching Dads from the Crypt.
Oh, that's awesome. I hadn't seen that one yet.
That's
I know,
amazing.
that's a surprise.
new.
I just got that one.
That's new. I
And
love it.
she may or may not come on our show in the near future. Maybe.
Ooh. So much
Now,
excitement tonight.
Rachel, what are your thoughts on the Judiness of it all?
I mean, I think she is an effective, like her performance is effective in creating a very mean girl from the 80s or from camp. I had camp experiences. There were mean girls there. There were some Judys. Felt true to life. It was a little awkward. I don't know her age, but when I said she was a sex pest, it was because she looks like she is quite a bit older and making out with a child. But I do think she is a compelling villain, and a good spoil for Angela in the first, in the first film. Foil, not spoil.
Now, Rachel, you did miss it last week. I did come in a pink shirt that said Jody across the chest.
Amazing.
I told you, I'm committing to all my bits. I'm taking.
I know, I
I'm
love it.
getting into prop comedy here for the
I love
YouTubers.
it.
Drop podcasting that no one can see.
Carrot Top. That's my goal. The big old
Carrot
cake.
Top.
I just
Dream
bring
bigger,
out
my
things.
friend.
No, I know. I'm gonna start working out a lot. Get all weirdly muscled.
Get some Botox.
Oh my god.
All right, for our song of the week, I mentioned this band last week, but I went a little deeper this week. They're called the Jasons. They're a punk band of guys that dress up in hockey masks, and they have a bunch of horror themed albums. They do have a great video called Camp Airwhack, and where the guys are stalked by an Angela type of character. Really fun video on YouTube. But they also have a more recent album called Unhappy Campers. And I decided to pick a song off of there. None of the songs were direct Sleepaway Camp references themselves, but there's a really fun song called Crazy Ralph, Shut Your Mouth. And since this is just so tangled up with Friday the 13th, I figured it kind of fits. I'm going for it.
No,
so that's your song of the week.
I love it.
What were you going to say, Jody?
I was going to say, if there is a specific movie this is parodying, Friday the 13th is obviously the one it's trying to make the most fun of. So, yeah, that fits.
Yeah. There you go. All right, Jody, bring us some horror news.
All right. So, starting with releases, as I said before we started recording, Weapons released on digital today. And that's what I'm doing when I finish this recording. I'm going to go watch that. So yeah, go rent that on VOD. So other things, not a lot of big ones. So I just found some that sounded interesting. There's a movie called Hippo's Revenge that just got released about a killer hippo.
Okay.
Yeah, it is what it is. And there's one called Halloween with an E. Halloween. It's a British like killer clown terrifier type thing that just came out. Bloody Disgusting described it as British Terrifier mixed with The Purge. So maybe it's terrible, maybe it's fine, I don't know. And in theaters, the big release this week was the new Conjuring movie, Last Rites, which, when I say the big release, it is the highest global opening in horror movie history. It beat it.
Wild.
Yeah, I had no idea the Conjuring franchise had this many fans still, but
the first one I think broke other records.
The first one was great.
It was a huge hit.
I just know the third one was kind of a flop, and so I'm surprised to see the fourth one like doing so well. But
I mean, it did well in America. I think it was the international take that really pushed over the top.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And people just love Patrick Wilson and Vera Farmiga. And do you blame them?
I feel like it's horror for normies. Everybody can. It's like PG-13 horror. It's evangelical as hell. Like it is meant for the normie crowds, and they showed up and showed out.
Yeah. And you know what? I'm always
when they talk about it's kind of like when they talk about broad humor. It's very broad horror.
Yes. Yeah. 100%. And you can take mom to the Conjuring movie. You know what I mean? Like, you are not going to be introduced to a character like titties first in a Conjuring movie.
Titties first.
Unlike the movie we just watched.
Exactly. Like it is, you can, you can go to church and then do the Conjuring. You'll be good to go.
Jody, I have some breaking news actually. Lar Park Lincoln has passed away. She played Tina in Friday the 13th Part 7, the telekinetic teenager.
That's a bummer.
Yeah.
Always like that one.
Queen.
She's a good final girl.
It was.
Right. As far as trailers to talk about this week, there's a new movie called Coyotes. So it's Justin Long and Kate Bosworth versus a bunch of coyotes. They're trapped in a Hollywood Hills home with like a wildfire on one side and a bunch of coyotes on the other side. Looks fun as hell. I can't wait for this one. October
That was a
3rd,
really fun trailer you sent me.
It's a great trailer. Another one that just released a trailer today is called Dust Bunny. So Mads Mikkelsen is a hitman who teams up with a 10-year-old girl to kill the monster she believes ate her family. So the big news about this one is it's directed by Brian Fuller. This is his first movie. He did Hannibal and Pushing Daisies, but this is his first directorial debut as a movie director. But they've also got Sigourney Weaver in there too. And in this trailer, she is constantly shooting these guns that are shoes, like
it's amazing,
high heel shoe guns.
Yeah,
looks crazy. Looks fun. I'm into it.
Yeah. It's like Leon the Professional, but make it horror, maybe?
Yeah.
Question mark?
Real weird.
Yeah.
And, and Brian Fuller's got kind of a unique, like, sense of humor, and I feel like this could really be a fun time.
Yeah, I can't quite get my hands around what genre it is.
No.
Because it shifts so much, but like the Brian Fuller of it all, the Sigourney Weaver of it all, the Mads Mikkelsen of it all, like I'm ready to like give it its day in court.
Yeah, me too. And then one smaller one that I wanted to mention, a movie called Blood on the Bleachers. And it's a 90s inspired horror movie. So it's got a lot of like the feel of like Goosebumps, Are You Afraid of the Dark, but also I Know What You Did Last Summer, Scream, that kind of stuff. But Lisa Wilcox, who plays the final girl Alice in Nightmare on Elm Street 4 and 5, is in this movie. And it seems like they just wanted to make a fun movie. They want to make a homage to the slashers they grew up with, and they wanted to work with somebody cool from horror history. So looks interesting. On physical media, Shin Godzilla is getting a 4K and a steelbook on October 28th from G Kids. Love that movie. It was a lot of fun. I wish I could see that one in theaters. I hadn't caught that one in theaters. Usually if it's a big like kaiju type movie, I try to catch it on the biggest screen I can. But it's great.
Yeah.
And a couple other quick things. One, Black Mirror creator Charlie Brooker is going to be doing a new series with Netflix about, they don't have a title for it, but it's about a ritualistic serial killer, which doesn't sound fun, but Brooker said it's wickedly funny with a lot of blood and frowning, which I don't know what that means, but I do trust Charlie Brooker.
He always brings the fun good times.
And the frowning.
He does.
Frowning. I'm still traumatized from that latest season that we covered on here of Black Mirror.
Black Mirror can be, it's Charlie Brooker at his like satirical, like darkest, but he also has done a lot. He had this show in England where every year he would do like a recap of the news for the entire year that he called Newswipe. And I went back and rewatched all of those a few years ago. That Death to 2020 and Death to 2021 that came out on Netflix, those were Charlie Brooker. He can be really funny when he's not being so gloomy. So I'm kind of curious to see, what a wickedly funny ritualistic serial killer show is. Because it sounds real dark personally, but it could be fun because I trust Charlie Brooker. And one more. Little while ago, a couple weeks ago, we talked about fake trailers that Eli Roth was releasing. They did the Piano Killer and Don't Go in That House, Bitch. Well, Don't Go in This House, Bitch is going to be a movie produced by Eli Roth and Snoop Dogg. They're making a full feature-length movie. I don't know anything else about it. They say it said something about like the ultimate haunted house movie. I don't know, man. Snoop's doing the soundtrack. Sounds weird. Eli's got his own production company now, though, so he can do whatever he wants. So, our friend John Snars helping to bankroll Don't Go in That House, Bitch, the feature-length movie.
Yeah.
Living the dream.
Yeah, I don't know what to make of it, but hey.
I mean, it's a one joke kind of short, right? Which is very funny.
It was a great
effective.
trailer.
I will say Thanksgiving was much better than it had any right to be.
Mm-hmm.
So much like I said with the Brian Fuller of it all, I'm willing to give this thing a shot.
Yeah,
if we can find a way to expand it and add some more jokes, then yeah, it could be good. I also feel like we need there's not been a lot of like high profile like urban horror. When you think of it, you really just think of Tales from the Hood, right? So I think we're overdue. I think it's time. So I don't know. We'll see.
I think I'd feel better if it was like an anthology of all these trailers expanded into like kind of more longer shorts, like 20-30 minute shorts, and like a full movie of that. Maybe they'll surprise us, but I think like I'd be more comfortable with that kind of anthology style of a Tales from the Hood, but with all these like expanded trailers.
I just, like you said, the Thanksgiving trailers seem pretty one note, like, oh, we got a Thanksgiving killer. But man, that movie, I love it so much. It was my favorite movie of the year it came out. So like, yeah, I'm willing to give it a shot. They'll
Yeah.
expand it. They'll add stuff. They'll make it more interesting than just the one joke.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I'm into it, even though it sounds like nothing.
All right. Anything else?
No, that's it. I'm done. I probably should have said that. Probably should have let you know instead of just leaving it hanging.
I need my cue ready.
Sorry. Next segment.
All right. For dad advice, I thought we'd switch it up a little bit and talk camp stories. Joey, did you go to summer camps?
I did. I actually met my wife at summer camp.
Oh,
I love
Yeah.
that. That's
let's hear. Okay, I need to hear
sweet.
about this then.
We were camp counselors. It was one of those, and I've said it for years, just a little summer thing, you know, like we got together one summer. She lived like 2 hours away. And so like we just assumed it would probably last about 2 weeks after we got home from camp. But no, we're 26 years deep now. But yeah, it started at summer camp. So summer, you know, you talked about how summer camp is special to you. Yeah, definitely. Me too. Like summer camp was a big part of my childhood. But yeah, the most important thing that happened at camp was, yeah, I met my wife there. And we started dating on the Thursday before we went home on Friday. And yeah, that's our story.
Okay, that was a much better story than I was expecting.
Yeah, can't follow that.
Mine, yeah. So I was a camp counselor for many years. I have a couple of fun stories. And my boys in my cabin really want to do a panty raid. Obviously, I wasn't going to let them do that, but I was talking to the female counselors, you know, of the same age group, and the girls were going to be doing like a nighttime hike and stuff. So we did have silly string. So I told them, okay, we can do a raid on the girls' cabin using silly string, but you're not allowed to touch any of their stuff. So just silly string as much as you want until the thing's empty. So we did that, and then they all snuck. We like made like a whole thing because you know the people that walk around and make sure that you know they're on guard or whatever. But I told them that we're doing this, but so just ignore us no matter how obvious we're being. But I made the kids think that this is like this really dangerous, scary thing we're gonna do. So I had them like army crawling all around and everything, and like they were like really super into it. And you know they did the whole silly street thing, and then went like snuck back. And I told them, okay, but as soon as you get back, you have to go straight to sleep, not a pee. It was also just my way of getting them to go to bed quicker.
Do what you got to do.
But of course, as soon as we left, my co-counselor went back and cleaned everything up really quickly. Silly string is very easy to clean up. So the girls had no idea that we were ever there, but the boys were too scared to say anything. And I got our camp director's permission to do this, and he played into it. So like in the morning, he walked by the table. It's like, oh man, I heard something really bad happened in that girl's cabin, and I wonder who did it. And we all went white.
Oh no!
So,
I love it.
I was all about controlled mayhem at camp.
Yeah, one of the things we always did at camp was, as a counselor, was we would do a bunch of different like skits and silly like things up on stage, you know, because I mean, I've talked about my childhood. It was evangelical camp because that's what everything was in my childhood. And so we were, you know, it was a Christian camp, and we would do these silly skits, and we just got to do whatever we wanted. Like there was no oversight. And so for one of the skits, we decided to say, we wondered what was going on in the girls' cabin at night. And we found a girl who was willing to loan us her clothes. And so all of us walked out, all of the guy counselors wearing like her spaghetti strap tank tops and short shorts. And I had a towel wrapped around my head, and we, you know, pretended to be all of the girls by name up on the stage. And a lot of pictures came from that I usually put up because we did the full drag show that year. It was fun.
Wow. Look at you subverting all the gender norms as a teen.
At Christian
Drag
camp.
shows at Christian camp. A rebel from the start. No wonder you
know.
snatched your wife's heart. Oh, God.
Rachel, do you have any fun camp stories?
Not really. I mean, it is like my camp stories are all traumatic, and this
Oh,
is such a
please bring on the
sweet.
trauma.
I mean, it is the origin story of my never nudism is from having to do group showers in
Fair.
camp and like
Yeah.
having like a full carry experience of being bullied in the shower. So like they're all like kind of bummer stories. I like the hazy, rosy colored memories that you guys are sharing instead of my bleak, burgeoning puberty and camp stories.
Okay, well, if we need balance, before I was a camp counselor, I went to camp as a camper. So I went to camp to 4-H camp in 4th grade. And I made it, I think, one night before I called my parents and went home because I didn't like it.
Oh.
The next year, I went to Boy Scout camp, which, by the way, is terrible if you are an inside boy like I am. I was not an outdoor boy.
You're a house cat.
I was somehow a Boy Scout, but I was sleeping in a tent for a week. That's insane in my brain, and also in my like 11-year-old brain. And so my brother was there too, and so we managed to sneak out. And the only phone was like a mile down the road at like the camp head office. And so we snuck out and went down there and called my parents. But because I had called the year before and they had paid a bunch of money and they brought me home, this year they didn't bring me home. And so I got stuck at camp. But the next year I had to go back to Boy Scout camp for some reason. And again, I tried to leave early. Every year I went to camp as a camper, I tried to leave. But yeah, never worked after that first time. My parents eventually got tired of paying for camps that I didn't actually want to stay at. And, I got to be a camp counselor as a teenager. That was a lot more fun than being a camper.
Yeah. I always love being a camp counselor much more than being a camper.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
One of the things we did to the quote Mean Girls, and I feel kind of guilty, I'll admit it, and this is definitely something I would not recommend, but something, it was the early 2000s, you did stuff like this. We would do this gag where we at night when someone's asleep, we did this to other counselors too. So it was kind of we didn't do it to campers very often. We all get our flashlights, gather around the bed, we pick up the bed, and we start shaking it, and then drop it. Turn on the flashlights when they woke up and yell "train."
Yeah, I wish I had been a camp counselor. I think that is
a lot more fun.
Yeah. Some traumatic shit that we did to people. And then
Imagine
the last
going to
time
camp, but not having a lot of rules. That's what it's like to be the counselors.
Yeah, exactly.
Stay up at night and get in the kitchen and stuff and go get food and do whatever you want.
We at the camp, the popular thing was there was this like pit that you go into and you play this like kind of like dodgeball, but like in a small arena called Gaga. And so sometimes we would put a hose in the pit before like our nighttime counselor meeting, and we come back afterwards and we mud wrestle. It was freezing, but it was
incredible.
And then to finish off, this is the last time I was like a real camp counselor, like at the end of it was like my senior year of college. Let's see. I had two. It was me, this other guy who was it was a Jewish camp. So this guy was an Israeli, exchange counselor. And then we had two counselor in trainings who were like about to go to college. So they were like 18, 17 age. Like within the last week, they both got kicked out. One of them, as counselors. Okay, sorry. We had one guy. He was 18. He was going to college. The other guy was 17. He was still in high school. So my co-counselor, he was 18. He was the one going to college. So we get a night off, but you weren't allowed to drink. We would all have like a beer or something like that if you're over 21. But you're not supposed to get like drunk or anything. I was standing outside of our cabin, and it's like a long road with a bunch of lights and stuff. I could see him stumbling down the road. I was like, God damn it. Someone got him a case of beer or something like that. And I knew there was no way he made it from, the entrance to the cabin without someone seeing. So as soon as he got there, he was obviously very drunk, and I just brought him into the bathroom in the back. and I just kind of hold them like physically, but I just kind of like occupied him there until the director showed up like within 10 minutes. Made him sleep it off in the infirmary, and he was gone the next morning, like while we went to breakfast. Somehow he had the wherewithal and time to write a letter and slip it into my bag, like denying the whole thing. I was like, okay, dude.
Wow.
And like he left his phone number and everything. I was like, I think I'm okay.
He's like, keep in touch.
I mean, based on this movie, if you wake up
BFFs.
and one of your bunkmates is gone, there's more happening than you might realize.
Oh.
Angela got him.
Not having Angela.
we had to explain to him, explain to kids what happened. Like, oh, he just wasn't feeling well, so he went home. It was like the last week, so it wasn't like, oh. And then at the beginning of camp, so it's one of those things where you have like a short camp for the younger kids, and then you get into like the 2-3 week sessions.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I was helping a kid with a bunch of their luggage, and I was walking on the hill. I didn't see exactly where I was going, and my foot went into a hole in the ground, a molehill or whatever, a mole hole, and I twisted my ankle. Like, this is the very first day of camp.
Oh no!
And I just I fell down, like just like dropped. And it's one of those things where I look down and you don't have an ankle anymore. It's just like straight down because it's still swollen.
Oh.
And they only had like one pair of crutches, which is like normal person size. And this is me in college, so I'm already my good old Jason height. So I had to, and there's all hills at this camp. So like the maintenance guy had a golf cart. He like, when he was available, he drove me up and down the hill.
Oh, buddy.
And then I went home. We had like a weekend break between the short camp and the regular camp. So I went home and got x-rays and everything, and they gave me a boot and a regular, it's extra tall size crutch. So I was like the bionic man, just like stumbling around with the boot and the thing. And then, so my other counselor, the counselor in training, so he was 17. And I guess there was the oldest group below that was, there were still campers, but apparently he had some sort of relations with someone who was technically a camper. They were the same age, or like they were like within a year. They're both under 18, but it's still counselor in training is like official staff, and the other person was a camper. He was a shithead anyways.
Also,
but
I don't think campers are supposed to be doing stuff, right?
Well, yeah, same difference, but like,
I mean, in my experience, there were, but I don't think they were supposed to be.
But the crazy thing is that suddenly 50% my support staff is gone the last week of camp, which is always like the hardest week because you have to clean everything and get all the kids packed and whatnot. So it was a rough end.
Clomping around in a boot at that point? Were you?
That was at the end. So yeah,
around?
I was like, no, after like a week or so, it was fine. But now the really fun part was that there's actually a men's camp that comes in after the kids leave, where they're basically drinking and they have like golf tournaments and tequila tasting, and they bring in like professional chefs. And I think they felt so bad for how shitty of a summer I had that they invited me to come, and they brought in male counselors to quote be staff to basically just clean up after them and just do whatever. And that was like one of the best weeks of my life. It was amazing.
Watching Rachel's face through all of this. There's a different version of camp playing out in her head right now.
Well, yeah, imagine what like all the adult men, are laying loose for that 1 week of the year. Yeah. There's things I'm not allowed to talk about that happened there, but you can fill in the rest. But yeah.
Was this men's camp called Bohemian Grove?
No. You guys were not that cool. I'll put it that way. But yeah, no, they brought in, like I said, professional chefs. They literally brought in like cases and cases of booze. So I didn't know how I didn't know how to bartend, but they just say, I just want some of this, some of this, some of this. And I would just throw in the glass and they call it good.
Mix it all up.
Yeah, nice. and we got really good tips, so I was happy with that.
See, so the camp you went to was obviously a little bit fancier than the one that I'm thinking of, because when I guess the second year that I was there with my girlfriend, who is now my wife, She slipped on a handicap ramp and hurt her knee, which I always picked on her for hurting herself on a handicap ramp. But we had to go. We had to go to the local ER, and we were so far out in the sticks that there was a no smoking sign in like the actual room of the ER, but not like in the waiting room, because you could still smoke in the waiting room, but not where they were actually like, treating you. So we were out in the middle of nowhere. We had to get a banana for a skit, and there was no grocery store anywhere nearby. So we had to go to like the local like ice cream shop and ask like, can we have one of your bananas from your banana splits? Can I just buy a banana directly from you? And so we got it that way. There's no grocery store. We're just out in the middle of nowhere. It's great.
Oh man. All right. Well, that wraps up another episode. Rachel, thank you so much for joining us. Where can people find you and the Zombie Grrlz?
Thank you so much for inviting me. This is so much fun. I always have such a great time chatting with you guys and feel very flattered to be asked back. If you want to hear more from me, you can always find me on the Zombie Grrlz Podcast Network, specifically on More Deadly right now, where we review horror films directed exclusively by women. We have been graced by the presence of both of these lovely gentlemen on the show. You should come listen to our Critters 3 episode if you want to hear more of this dynamic. And then, of course, you can find me almost every week on Bloody Good Horror, talking about the latest releases. We're going to be talking about The Conjuring this week, so that'll be fun.
The biggest opening ever.
That is
crazy. Yeah. And there's no way it's the last one. No way.
Oh, but they've already announced an HBO show.
Yeah, they're making a lot of money.
Today.
Oh my God.
Yeah, the whole thing is a setup for like the next generation to take over. Mm-hmm. So I don't know if that's going to be what the HBO show is or not, but there's no way they're not going to keep harvesting that American dollar. Are you kidding?
Conjuring the new class.
Exactly.
Oh,
Exactly.
All right. Well, I appreciate everyone for listening. I would really appreciate it if you would give us a rating and review on iTunes, a rating on Spotify, like and subscribe on YouTube. Follow us at Dads from the Crypt Talk on TikTok. And with that, we thank you for listening to Dads from the Crypt.
Follow Dads from the Crypt on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, or I will follow you to the grave. No, seriously, you really should watch. But be careful what you ask for. You may get it.